Are you still holding on to your ancient Nikon Z7 II, desperately praying that Nikon hasn't completely abandoned you? Let's be totally honest for a second. For 6 long, painful, agonizing years, Nikon shooters have been left out in the bitter cold. You have watched the calendar flip year after year while staring at your outdated gear, feeling exactly like a forgotten child. Meanwhile, Sony and Canon fans have been absolutely feasting at a golden buffet of innovation. They have enjoyed insane AI-driven autofocus, unbelievable low-light tracking, and lightning-fast stacked sensors that make your camera feel like a prehistoric relic. And what did Nikon give you during this entire time? They gave you nothing but crumbs. They gave you minor, insulting firmware updates that barely fixed a thing. The silence coming from Nikon headquarters has been totally deafening, leaving thousands of loyal creators wondering if they should just pack up and sell their lenses. But right now, the crickets have finally stopped chirping. The whispers have turned into an absolute roar, and the leaks have officially opened up into a massive, unstoppable flood. The Nikon Z7 III is real. It finally has a rumored price tag that changes everything, and the leaked specifications are designed to throw a heavy, devastating knockout punch straight at the competition. But we have to look past the hype and ask the ultimate terrifying question. Is all of this just a little too late? The competition hasn't just been standing still in the ring with Nikon. Sony and Canon have been winning this war by a brutal, bloody technical knockout for 2 straight years. Today, we are breaking down every single leak, every internal factory whisper, and every supply chain secret to see if Nikon is truly back in the game or if they are dead on arrival. Are they making a legendary comeback for the history books? Or are they just arriving with an expensive ticket to a party that ended at midnight? Let's be real, because the timeline here is honestly painful to look at. If you are a dedicated Nikon shooter, you have earned the exact right to be incredibly salty. The original Z7 dropped way back in 2018, and it was a bold, exciting start for their full-frame mirrorless journey. Then the Z7 II followed in 2020, which fixed the annoying single card slot drama but kept the exact same slow, frustrating internal soul. Since that day, it has been total, icy radio silence. For 6 long years, Nikon has been completely hyper-focused on the Z8 and the flagship Z9. We get it because those are incredible, mind-blowing machines. They are the sports and cinema giants that single-handedly put Nikon back on the map and proved they could build elite mirrorless tech. But in that aggressive process, Nikon completely forgot about the exact people who built their reputation in the first place. They completely abandoned the landscape photographers, the studio artists, and the high-end portrait pros. While Nikon was busy perfecting their heavy flagships, Sony released the powerful A7 RV and the unstoppable A7 R6. Canon dropped the massive R5 and the stunning R5 Mark II. Even Fujifilm managed to update their medium-format monsters twice. Nikon hasn't just been late to the market, they have been dangerously, recklessly late. According to the latest supply chain whispers directly from Asia, the painful wait is finally ending in the autumn of 2026. So let's talk about the money, because this is where the Nikon value myth either lives forever or dies a painful death. The rumored price for the highly anticipated Z7 III is currently sitting right between $3,000 and $3,500. For some crucial context, you need to look at what the other guys are doing. The Sony A7 R6 is chilling comfortably at $3,500, and the heavy-hitting Canon R5 Mark II demands a steep, eye-watering $3,900. If Nikon can actually hit that beautiful sweet spot of $3,299, they become the undisputed value king overnight. They absolutely must undercut Sony by at least $200 to convince frustrated people to stay. In a modern world where inflation has turned mid-range cameras into crazy, unobtainable luxury items, that small price gap is the only thing that will stop a loyal Nikon user from closing their eyes and buying a Sony. If Nikon pushes past the $3,500 mark, they aren't just in deep trouble, they will become completely invisible to the market. People do not wait 6 long years just to pay a massive premium for hardware that feels like a desperate catch-up project. Nikon needs to prove to the world right now that brand loyalty has an actual financial reward. Now, let's get right into the raw guts of this machine, because the leaked specifications are where the real juicy story hides. We are looking at a brand new, custom-designed 61-megapixel stacked BSI sensor. Stacked is the absolute magic word here, and you need to pay attention. If you don't know why a stacked sensor matters, listen very closely. The old Z7 sensors were beautiful for landscapes, but they were incredibly, frustratingly slow. They had terrible, embarrassing rolling shutter issues that made the electronic shutter almost completely useless for anything moving faster than a turtle. A stacked sensor changes the entire math of modern photography. It means lightning-fast readout speeds, zero distortion in your electronic shutter, and a massive boost to autofocus calculations per second. On top of that, the video specs are aiming for the throat. You are looking at 8K video at a crisp 60p, and 4K video at a buttery smooth 120p. This is the exact hybrid powerhouse Nikon should have released 3 years ago. It finally matches the Sony and Canon benchmarks, giving landscape and wildlife professionals the high-speed, slow-motion tools they have been begging for on online forums for half a decade. Under the hood, the Z7 III is rumored to jump straight to the next-generation XP8 processor. This is a massive, shocking curveball because the incredibly expensive flagship Z9 is still running on the older XP7. Jumping a full digital generation ahead means the Z7 III will have way more processing headroom than the most expensive camera Nikon sells today. This new digital brain brings advanced, terrifyingly accurate AI-powered autofocus to the table. We are talking about real-time tracking for birds, cars, planes, and even tiny insects that actually stays locked on regardless of how bad the lighting gets. It is also highly expected to handle revolutionary in-camera AI noise reduction. Imagine shooting at a super high ISO of 6400 and getting a clean file that looks like it was shot at a pristine ISO 400, simply because the processor cleaned it up beautifully before the data even touched your CF Express card. The physical body itself is expected to look and feel like a mini Z8. You get that deep, secure professional grip and all the tactile buttons you love, but in a much lighter, nimbler frame. For the dedicated landscape photographers who hike 10 grueling miles into the wilderness for one perfect sunset shot, every single gram saved is an absolute blessing from above. But here is the cold, hard, brutal truth that most fanboy channels will never tell you because they want to keep their brand sponsorships. Specs on a piece of white paper do not mean a single thing if the real-world execution fails in the mud. Nikon has 3 massive, mountain-sized hurdles to clear with this launch if they want to survive. First is the absolute reliability of the autofocus system. Sony is still the undisputed, reigning king of sticky autofocus. When a Sony camera locks onto a subject's eye, it acts like it is permanently glued there with industrial cement. Canon is a very close, terrifying second place. Nikon is currently sitting in a respectable third place, but let's be real, respectable does not win Olympic gold medals and it does not pay the studio rent. If the Z7 III still hunts for focus in low-light wedding receptions or loses a subject behind a single moving blade of grass, it is an instant deal-breaker for working pros. The second massive problem is the lens ecosystem. Nikon's premium S-line lenses are optical masterpieces, and they are arguably some of the best glass in human history, but they are incredibly heavy and they are wildly, ridiculously expensive. When a Sony 50mm f/1.2 lens is hundreds of grams lighter than the Nikon equivalent, professional wedding photographers notice that painful difference by the end of a long, exhausting 12-hour shooting day. Plus, Nikon is still notoriously protective of their electronic lens mount. While Sony users enjoy a giant, endless buffet of affordable, sharp third-party lenses from brands like Sigma and Tamron, Nikon users are often forced to pay the heavy, painful first-party brand tax. The third problem is pure, cruel timing. By the time this camera actually hits the store shelves in late 2026, the Sony A7 R6 will have already been sitting on the market for over a year. Sony can easily slash their price by $300 on Black Friday, and suddenly Nikon's entire value argument completely evaporates into thin air. Nikon is playing defense in a high-stakes game where they used to set the rules. Right now, retailers are clearing out old Z7 II stock with massive, desperate discounts. This is the clearest, most obvious sign that the successor is right around the corner. They need to completely flush the warehouses before they can announce the new king. It is a smart business move for their corporate balance sheet, but it is a highly frustrating experience for the loyal fans who have been holding on to their 2020 gear while the rest of the photography world sprinted fast into the future. So, what is the honest, unfiltered opinion on this product? The Nikon Z7 III looks like a true masterpiece of modern engineering that is sadly arriving a day late and $1 short. If you are already deep in the Nikon ecosystem, if your gear closet is completely full of high-end Z-mount glass, and you absolutely love the rugged way a Nikon body feels in your hand, this is the exact dream upgrade you have been waiting for. It is the ultimate tool for ultra-high-resolution stills, massive gallery prints, and aggressive cropping options. It completely fixes every single complaint we ever had about the sluggish Z7 II. But if you are a working professional who needs a brand new camera today to put food on the table and pay the bills, you simply cannot afford to wait for rumors of maybe and soon. You should buy the Sony or the Canon right now, and you should never look back. Nikon is not trying to win over brand new converts from other systems with this camera. They are simply trying to stop the bleeding and keep their most loyal fans from jumping ship to competing brands. It is a retention camera, not a conquest camera. Nikon has spent 6 long years perfecting this specific design, and while they were working in absolute secrecy, the entire photography world changed. High resolution is no longer the magic novelty it used to be. Today, creators want extreme speed, we want advanced AI tracking, and we want flawless, bulletproof reliability. The Z7 III seems to have all of that on paper, but it carries the heavy, crushing burden of 6 years of intense expectations. If this camera does not absolutely floor the tech reviewers on day one, it might be the last high-res dedicated body we see for a very long time as the Z8 continues to swallow up that market share. If you like the video, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.